Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video, you will be learning how to make use of these six formulas, which are COUNTIF, average if, SUMIF, COUNTIFS, average ifs, and SUMIFs. So you will be learning how to use these formulas with the help of sample data, which I will be showing you now. So before getting into solving the data, first let's understand the difference between these six formulas. So for COUNTIF, average if, and SUMIF, the criteria will be one. So with help of one criteria, we will be solving this all formulas, right? In the same way, for COUNTIFs, average ifs, and SUMIFs, we will have more than one criteria, meaning we will have more than one condition, right? So that is the main difference between these formulas here. So let's get started with our data here. So this is a sample data which I have here. So this data speaks about the resident names, the locations, and the age groups, right? Now here I have the formulas listed out. So with the help of this formulas, we will solve these criterias. So these are the criterias which we will be solving in this video. So let's get started with the COUNTIF formula. So here I will be using the formula. So what is the criteria here? Is residence of Ville Parle, right? So let's get started with the formula. So always start with equal to sign. COUNTIF is the formula. Open the bracket. Now here what is the range? What will be the range here? So here we want residence of Ville Parle, right? So here the range will be the location. Select the entire column, control backspace to come up, and the criteria. So whenever you enter a criteria, make sure the criteria is surrounded in double quotations, right? So keep that in mind. Whenever you have criteria in formula, the value should be in double quotations. So what will be the criteria here? The criteria will be Ville Parle, right? Double quotations and Ville Parle, and close the bracket and hit enter, right? Now we got 16. So what does 16 mean? So number of residents in Ville Parle, right? To know how many residents are there in this database, we have to use the count formula, right? So the count formula will give us the total number of residents. So the value will be the age column and hit enter. So total number of residents are 38, right? Out of which 16 of the residents are from Ville Parle, right? Now in the same way, this is another criteria which is residents of Bandra. Now we can use the same formula which is COUNTIF. Now the range once again here will be the location range, right? And the criteria here will be Bandra. Double quotations, close the bracket and hit enter, right? So 10 indicates the total number of residents in Bandra, right? Now coming to this criteria which is residents above 50 age, right? Right, now once again the same formula, COUNTIF. Now what is the range here? The range will be the age group, right? Because the criteria is 50 age, right? So the range will be also the age column. Select the entire column, control backspace to go up. Now if you notice the residence age above 50, right? So if it is above 50, then we need to enter the greater than symbol and use the 50 value here. So even if you are entering that number here, it should always be in the double quotations, because here we have criteria in the formula. Close the bracket and hit enter, right? So 20 residents are there who are above age 50, right? Right. So that is how we use the COUNTIF formula to solve this criteria, right? Now let's move on to the average here we need to calculate the average of this Bandra residence, right? Now let's do that. Is equal to average if, right? Now here the range will be so here average age of Bandra residents, right? So here the range will be the location column. Select the entire column, control backspace to go up, and the criteria will be Bandra, and average range will be the age column, and close the bracket and hit enter. Right, now we got the average age of Bandra residents. So 55.8 is the average age of Bandra residents, right? Now in the same way we need to solve this problem as well. This is Ville Parle, right? Now let's solve this one as well. Average if. Now once again the range will be the location column. Select the entire column, control backspace to go up. The criteria will be Ville Parle, double quotations. Now the average range will be the age column. Control backspace, close the bracket and hit enter. Right. Now 50 indicates the average age of Ville Parle residents. Right. Now once again the same way, let's calculate the average age of Andheri residents. Once again average if range will be the location and criteria will be Andheri, and average range will be the age groups, and close the bracket and hit enter. Right. I hope you understood the COUNTIF and average if formulas, right? If you are having any questions, comment below. I will answer them. Right, now let's move on to the SUMIF formula. So here we have this criteria, total age of all Ryans, right? So Ryans is nothing but the resident name here. So let's do this. SUMIF. So here the range will be this one, the resident name, right? Control backspace. So the criteria will be Ryan. Now the sum of the range will be this one, right? Because we want the total age here, right? Because of that we will be using the age column. Once again select entire column, control backspace to go up, close the bracket and hit enter. So the total age of Ryan's is 380, right? Now here we have another criteria, which is we need to calculate the total age of all people living in Bandra, right? Right. So once again, let's enter the SUMIF formula. So the range here will be the location Bandra, right? And the criteria will be Bandra here, and the sum range will be the age column, right? Close the bracket, hit enter. Now we got the answer here, right? So the sum and the age of all people living in Bandra is 558. Here you need to understand the difference. Here we took the person name, the resident name here, right? Here we took the resident name, but here we took the location as a criteria, right? So that difference you need to understand while solving the formula here, right? Now let's move to the next section, which is COUNTIFS, average ifs, and SUMIFS, right? Here we will be using multiple criteria. Here we used only a single criteria, but here we will be using multiple criteria, right? Right. Now for us here the criteria is total residents named George in Ville Parle, right? So the total residents we need to calculate named George in Ville Parle, right? Now let's enter the formula here, COUNTIFS and criteria. What is the first criteria? Range one is George, right? So here our criteria range is this one, resident name. Select the entire column, control backspace to go up. Now enter the criteria. What is the criteria here? Criteria one will be the name George. Enter double quotations, George, right? Comma. Now what is the criteria range to? This is Ville Parle, right? Where is Ville Parle located? It is in the locations column. Now select the entire locations column, control backspace to go up and hit comma. Now select the criteria 2. What is the criteria? Criteria 2 criteria will be Ville Parle. Enter it in double quotations and close the bracket. Now once again this we got the answer for this criteria, right? So total residents are 10 with the name George in with the party, right? Now let's solve this one. So to here we need to calculate total residents named George in Bandra. This was Ville Parle, this will be Bandra. So here I will copy the same formula, but I will change the criteria from Ville Parle to Bandra, right? Right. Now this is the answer for this criteria. Total residents and named George and Bandra are 2, right? Right. Next, move on to the average ifs formula. Here we will enter the average ifs formula, which is equal to average. So whenever you are choosing a formula, be careful to choose the right formula. So you sometimes you may get confused between these two. So be careful whenever you are choosing a formula here. So for the average ifs, the first we need to select the average range. So what will be the average range here? So the average range will be the age column because the average can only be taken for the numbers, not for the text, right? So here we need to select the age column. Select the entire column, control backspace to go up, comma. Now here the criteria, what will be the criteria range 1? The criteria range 1 will be the resident name, right? So select this column, control backspace to go up, and the criteria will be the resident name, which is Tim, right? Enter it in double quotations, comma. Now we need to select the criteria range 2. What is the criteria range 2 here? Which is Ville Parle. Where it is Ville Parle? It is in the location column, right? So we need to select the location column as well. Control backspace to go up, comma, and what is the criteria? The criteria is Ville Parle. So enter that in double quotations, close the bracket and hit enter. Right now, so what does this 68 indicate? So it indicates the average age of residents named Tim in Ville Parle, right? So now let's once again do the same formula with different criteria. So once again I'm entering the average ifs formula here, and the average range will be the age column. Select the entire column, comma. So if you observe here we have two criterias, right? So that is the main difference between average ifs and average if. Here we had only one criteria, now here we are having multiple criteria, right? So now the criteria range will be the resident column, right? Now once again enter the criteria 1, which is the name of the resident is Ryan, right? Comma. Now select the criteria range 2, that is the location Andheri. So and select the entire location here. Now enter the criteria in double quotations, and close the bracket and hit enter. Now 39 indicates the average age of residents named Ran in Andheri, right? So now we solve the average IFS formula as well. Now let's move on to our last formula, which is SUMIFS, right? So what is the criteria here? Total age of all residents named Tim in Ville Parle, right? So we need to calculate the total age of all residents named Tim in Ville Parle. So for that, let's enter the formula, which is SUMIFS is equal to SUMIFS and select the sum range. So what will be the sum range here? The sum range will be the age column and control backspace, and the criteria range will be the resident name here, and enter the criteria, which is in double quotations Tim, comma, and what is the criteria range to here? That is the location, which is this one, the B column, comma, and enter the criteria, which is Ville Parle. Right? Now close the bracket and hit enter. Right. So what does this 136 indicate? It indicates the total age of all residents named Tim in Ville Parle. Right. Now let's solve this final criteria as well. Again, I'm entering the SUMIFS formula. So let me select the sum range and select the criteria range 1, which is residence, and enter the criteria in double quotations, which is Tim, and let's select the criteria range 2, which is the location column, and enter the criteria in double quotations, which is Andheri, and close the bracket and hit enter. Right. Sorry, I entered the name of the resident wrong, so it is Tim. So let's enter it again. So here we got the total age of all the residents named Tim in Andheri, which is 416, right? So this is how you can use the COUNTIF, average if, sum if, COUNTIFs, average ifs, and SUMIFs formula in Excel to solve the data easily without using any filters or sorting features, right? I hope you understood the way we solve each and every criteria. So if you have any questions, please comment uh, below. I will answer them. Thank you.